All right, guys, welcome back. So the next thing that we're going to do is look at this guy, this switch here. So what I want you to notice is that it's got 3 legs, all right? And it also has this little switch, this black thing on top that slides this way to the left and that way to the right. So using these 3 legs and then this switch part that slides back and forth, we're going to be able to turn our robot off and on. So I'm gonna go big screen here and we will take a look at this, see how this works. So we don't need the breadboard, this little section here. All right, so I'm gonna draw my switch. And it has 3 legs, right? And I'm gonna call them A, B, and C. So that's what the switch looks like. Now let me show you what happens when the little black thing up top, we'll call it the slider, when the slider slides, what happens, okay? So here's situation number 1. Let's say you slide it so that it looks like this. And this is A, B, and C, just like before. So what happens is that B, I'm going to go yellow for electricity, B goes through the bottom, goes up and goes through the bottom of the slider switch and goes to A. So in this situation, B is connected to A, but it is not connected to C. Okay? It's kind of like if you think of a train, like a train tracks, you have those switches where like you could tell the train to go this way or to go the other way. It's a lot like that, okay? So when we slide it to the left like this, we're channeling the electricity, which is like the train, to go from B to A and not go to C. So in situation number 2, you might already be thinking this already. A, B, and C. If you slide the switch this way, the electricity will go from B, go under the slider switch, and then go to C. But because there's no path to A, B is no longer connected to A. So what we can do now is if we look at B, we can tell electricity from B to go to either A, or we can tell it to go to C. And that is how we're going to have to use that in our design to make a switch that turns our robot off and on. Okay, so I'm going to move up here. And we're going to add something to our schematic. We're going to add our switch. So here we go. Our last little bit here. I'm going to make an opening right here. So if I did this in real life, it's an open circuit, right? So that means electricity is not flowing here, here, or here. It's not going to be working. Now I want to add my switch. So I'll just draw it out like this, okay? And there's A, B, C. You know what? Let me draw it a little bit bigger. A, B, and C, okay? So what we can do is we can connect the minus of the battery to B. All right? And then C is going to go right here. And then we have the little slider switch up here. Okay, and this slider switch goes back and forth. So we kind of need to think a little bit. So what's going on here? Well, let's say that the slider switch is on the left, like right here, that means that this B is connected to A. Now A is connected to nothing. So that means it's not going to work. You have an opening here. We need actually B to connect to like over here. So what that tells us is that when the switch is over here, there's no electricity. We have an open circuit, and our robot's off. But if we slide it over here, what happens? Then the electricity from B, it goes underneath to C, and then you see you have everything is good. We have a loop here. We also have a loop here. We also have a loop here. Everything, there's a path for electricity to go through everything, and your robot will turn on. So let's go ahead and try to build this, and then we will be done. All right, so I'm gonna go back over here. All right, so how are we gonna do this? All right, I'm gonna start with the minus of battery number 2. The minus of battery number 2. So my battery number 2 is down here again. Okay, the minus of battery number 2 is right here. Okay, so the minus of battery number 2 needs to connect to the side leg. Okay, needs to connect to the side leg right here. So I can just do this. So I will put the switch, and you know what? Let me see if I can make sure I do this the right way. I'm going to make some room here for my switch. So I'm going to move these over. And when you move these, when you move the wires, you can move them to the left and right. Just make sure they stay on the same row that they were on before. Okay, like this wire right here. This we can move over to right there too. All right. I'm going to put my switch like, okay, I think I may have set it incorrectly. We need, let's see, we need the minus of battery number 2 to connect to the middle leg, okay? Because that's to number B, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put our switch like this. Okay. So once you put it in, you should see one hole up top and one hole up down on the bottom. All right, and then right now the middle leg of the switch is on a row that has nothing in it. The way I can tell that is that there's 4 empty holes next to it. So the middle leg needs to connect to the minus of battery number 2, so I put it right there. There we go. Okay, so this is good now. So you can see my switch right now. See, it's switched down. It's switched down like this. So that means the middle leg right now, which is connected to this, is connecting to the bottom row right here. Now the bottom row right here, you see the tip of my screwdriver has nothing in it, so that's why it's not working. But once I slide it up, this will all of a sudden be connected to this row, which has the brown wire, and then that will make all the connections. So that was for looking at it physically. Let's look again on our map here, our schematic, okay? So when I switch it right here, when I switch it up, when I push it up like that, the slide, it's going to look like my circuit up here. So all of a sudden, the black wire from number 2 will connect to B, which will then connect to C, which will then complete our circuit. All right, let us try. I'm going to slide it up. It's going, and my lights are going. And then I can turn it off, and I turned it off. All right, there we go. So this is our project here, the little minibus project. And so I would say that this lesson here could probably be broken down into 2 to 3 different lessons, but I just wanted to give kind of a quick rundown so that you're able to see how it all comes together. If any parts they were confusing, I would say, you know what, try to do it exactly like mine. And then even if you didn't grasp those little parts, it should still work. And then be on the lookout. I'll be creating a few more videos to kind of like break it down and slow down, especially some of the switch and the breadboard part, because I know that that's some of the more challenging parts. But again, this was just kind of so that you guys can build it quickly and to kind of get a taste of these little other components, the switch and the breadboard and the headlights. All right, feel free to reach out with any questions. You can email at info@barnabasrobotics.com. Good luck building. I'd also love to see your projects. If you guys want to post your creations on Facebook, Instagram, and you know, tag Barnabas Robotics, we'd love that. All right, take care.